glands, thyroid gland and thymus and parathyroid glands. So first of all, you will revise structure of the nasal cavity, yes? Structure of the nasal cavity, you will revise. Here everything is absolutely clear. So we studied bony part, yes? Like bony part of nasal cavity. You have to revise how all the nasal meatuses are formed, and communications of all the nasal meatuses, like superior nasal meatus, for example, that is bounded by superior nasal concha superiorly and middle nasal concha inferiorly, communicates with sphenoid sinus, yes, and also with posterior ethmoidea cells, and so on. You will revise all of this. You also have to study cartilaginous parts. So cartilaginous part of nasal cavity, here there are different cartilages, cartilage of the wing of the nose, cartilage of nasal septum. You have to revise how choanea are formed, how what did I say? How piriform bronchi is formed and how choanea are formed also. So you will revise all of these things. What happens? Like, what are the functions of nasal cavity? Yes, you have to know. So it's not just transport function. It's not just the place through which air passes, yes, and after that it goes further.
Filter.
In the nasal cavity, air, it becomes warmer and it becomes like it humidifies. What does mean humidifies?
It's filter.
Filter. No, it's not. Humidification. What is it? Please, Ataha, translate it into Arabic.
Warm, I think, yes?
No, it's become wet.
Yes,
wet.
well, yes.
Humidity.
Okay.
Humidity. Do you know what is humidity?
In Arabic, can only translate.
What? So it becomes warm and it becomes wet, yes, and it becomes clean, yes? Okay. How does it happen? It's due to the structure of mucosa. That's why normal pathway for the ear, it's through the nasal cavity, because when ear enters through the oral cavity, it does not get warm, it does not get clean, yes, and it does not get wet. All of this happens due to the structure of mucosa of nasal cavity. Mucosa of nasal cavity, you will also read it, is divided into two parts. There is olfactory mucosa that serves for the smelling, yes, to feel smell. It is located in superior nasal meatus and superior part of middle nasal meatus. And there is respiratory mucosa that serves only for the respiration. And here in the respiratory mucosa, actually in both, the mucosa is covered by ciliated epithelium. Ciliated epithelium is that one that has, yes, hair-like structures, and they vibrate towards the exit, yes, and they to eliminate foreign particles. So that's how ear gets clean. Then also, here in the mucosa of nasal cavity, veins, superficial veins, they are located very close to the surface, and that's why air becomes warmer. Yes, so it gives the warmth of the blood to the inhaled air. And but it's like that. Yes. What did you say? Da. And so here, yes, it's one of the advantages. Yes, so air gets warmer, but also here in the nasal cavity, in the entrance of the nasal cavity, there is an area where there are very many superficial veins, and they lie very superficially. And this is known as Kisselbach's area. And here bleedings are very common. Yes, that's why. Because it's just author's name, Gisselbach. It's also yes. Da. Da. Okay. And so yes, the last thing, how it becomes, how it gets humidified, is because there are mucus glands here, goblet cells, which produce mucus, and so air becomes also wet. Why do we need wet air? Because dry air, it irritates mucous membranes of lower respiratory tract. Yes, and so that's what you have to know.
By which cell?
Goblet cells.
Goblet, yes. It was inside.
Yes, and so also you have to revise paranasal sinuses, yes, and we said, when we studied craniology, that one of the functions... зачем нам так много телефонов? Я не понимаю. Why do we need so many phones?
Just me, it's enough.
Да. Paranasal sinuses, what, and... I forgot to say what I wanted to say. Yes, one of the functions, it is to make an additional surface, additional space for the inhaled air. And so, yes, also you have to revise structure of paranasal sinuses. And so after that, when air passes through the nasal cavity, it goes, we said, to the nasopharynx and then to the oropharynx. And we said that oropharynx is a place where air and food, they can mix. And so after that, it goes to the larynx. It goes to the larynx. No, it's clear, we don't need it. Okay, this is, where is it? This here is larynx. For the next lesson, we also have to find dissected larynx, because here nothing is visible, yes? So this is larynx. It is an organ of respiratory system. And what we forgot to say is that actually all the organs of respiratory system, except lungs, they are known as respiratory tract, yes? So the pathway through which air goes, yes? And all this respiratory tract is divided into two parts. Upper respiratory tract includes nasal cavity and nasopharynx and oropharynx. And then lower respiratory tract, it is larynx, and then trachea and bronchi, yes? So this is larynx. Larynx and... Also here also there is some part of the larynx. So larynx, it is organ of respiratory system, and one of the functions is to conduct the air to the lungs and from the lungs, yes, so in both directions. And also the other function of the larynx, it is voice production, yes. So we said that articulation of speech, it takes place in the oral cavity mainly, yes, but the sound is produced here in the larynx because there are vocal folds. There are vocal folds. Yes. No, yes. For the next time, yes, we will need dissected larynx. Yes, because here nothing is visible. Yes. So yes, there are two types of folds. First of all, here. No, okay, we'll talk about it later. Okay, voice production is the other function. What is skeletotopy? It starts from the fourth cervical vertebra, and its inferior boundary is at the sixth cervical vertebra, and it is located in the cervical region. It is holotopy, yes. And so syntopy is clear that behind the larynx there is laryngeal part of the pharynx, yes. And so in front of the larynx there is thyroid gland. No, so thyroid gland is located in the inferior parts of the larynx and superior parts of the trachea. And so what else can we say? No, so above there is oropharynx, yes. And so this is epiglottis, yes. Okay, that is clear. So yes, in the larynx there are three parts. Three parts. Нет, no. I didn't. You don't understand me. I asked you to leave only one video, yes? Yeah. Да. I forgot it. Forget everything. What? So there are three parts, yes, in the larynx. This is vestibule of larynx. No, okay. Where is it? Where did I put it? What? So this is vestibule of larynx. Here it is, and then between two folds. So this one is false vocal folds. It is vestibular folds. Yes, plica vestibulus. Superior one are false vocal folds, and inferior ones they are true vocal folds. Yes, plica vocalis. Yeah, true vocal folds. So between them there is a ventricle of the larynx. Ventricle of the larynx, and below there is a subvocal cavity. Subvocal cavity here. So three parts. Да. Subvocal cavity. Okay. So yes, you see there are two folds. One are false. They do not produce any sound, but true vocal folds, when they vibrate, sound goes. Sound is produced. Yes. Here we also can see it. The same. So this one is false vocal folds, superior one, and inferior one they are false vocal folds. So you have to know the boundaries, like the walls of every part for the vestibule of the larynx, anteriorly it is epiglottis, yes, and posteriorly there are arytenoid cartilages, and here this one is aryepiglottic. Можно вот так не делать, пожалуйста? Я ничего не вижу. Забыла, что видела. Да, aryepiglottic fold. Plica aryepiglottica. It's this one. Okay. No, laterally. Okay. So this is actually larynx.
What's
Yes.
the difference between false and the true one?
No, like false vocal folds, they are just folds, and true vocal folds are those which, when they vibrate, sound is produced.
And false?
And folds, they are just folds, yes.
Okay.
Because inside true vocal folds there is vocal muscle. We'll talk about later, yes.
Okay.
And it contracts also, it gets tensed, and yes. So that's how it works. Okay, so this about internal structure, what we should say, that there is mucous membrane. Yes, and it is also covered by ciliated epithelium, yes, and here under the mucous membrane there is submucosa, and then there is additional layer here, it is cartilaginous, fibrocartilaginous layer. So here you have to know cartilages of larynx. There are unpaired and paired cartilages, so you will study them yourselves, yes. So unpaired cartilages, this one is epiglottis. So the function of epiglottis is clear, yes. When we swallow, epiglottis close in entrance into the larynx. So this is additus laryngis, entrance into larynx. And so food goes behind, food goes here. This one is, no, first it is laryngopharynx and then it goes to the esophagus. Okay, and then the other unpaired cartilages of the larynx, they are thyroid cartilage, it is this one. Thyroid cartilage, it is this one, the largest cartilage of the larynx, yes, and below there is cricoid cartilage, so they are unpaired. Paired cartilages of larynx, they are arytenoid cartilages, here it is, and then there are small cartilages like Trachea cartilage, they are somewhere here in the aryepiglottic folds, and there is also cartilage arytenoid, cuneiform, yes, that is above arytenoid cartilages. No, so you have to know structure of all of them, all the parts. So we have also to know why the voice in females, yes, the sound of female voice is higher than sound of male's voice.
It's higher.
Что я сейчас сказала?
Слава عليك.
Ну да.
In females it's high?
Yes, of course it is higher.
ايوه يعني ارفع احنا صوتنا تخين.
So it depends, yes, on the length of the vocal folds. So a thyroid cartilage consists of two quadrangular plates, right and left, and they are connected by the angle. Yes, here there is angle. And so this angle in males, it is acute angle and it forms like Adam's apple. Yes. Yes. And in females it is obtuse angle, and that's why, because it is obtuse, vocal fold, it is stretched between arytenoid cartilage and this angle, so vocal fold is shorter. Yes, and that's why no, like it will be just shorter. Like when you play the guitar. Do you play guitar?
No, but we know the
So
how is it?
yes.
If you do tongue, it will be like higher.
But when you want to make a higher sound, yes, you need to decrease the length of the string.
Yes.
So that's why.
Because when you're playing, you choose the other hand to control
the length of the
yes.
string. The shorter the string is, the higher sound will be. Yes, what? And so in females, yes, vocal folds they are shorter, and in males they are longer. That's why sound is lower in males. Yes. Okay.
Now understood.
Also, you have to know all the muscles of the larynx. You will also read it yourself. So all the muscles of the larynx, they are divided according to their functions into muscles which tense vocal fold. It is, for example, musculus vocalis, yes. And then there are muscles which dilate vocal fissure, dilate rhemagglottides. Ah, yes, I forgot to tell you that space between two vocal folds, it is known as rhemagglottides. So there are muscles which dilate rhemagglottides, and there are muscles which narrow, like constrict rhemagglottides. No, so you have here, all of them are shown. You will read about them. We'll discuss them in the next lesson. Everything is simple. But you have to know all the muscles of the larynx.
Doctor,
Okay.
can you see it quickly? The
Yes.
muscles in front of the video because
Yeah, no,
What?
I think you will manage. No, so everything is clear. So this is one, for example, is transverse arytenoid, oblique, arytenoid. Under oblique arytenoid there is transverse arytenoid. This one is, for example, cricothyroid muscle. No, and so all of them you will study yourself. It's very easy.
okay.
Так, that was about the larynx. Then, after the larynx, ear goes to the trachea. Yes, so trachea starts, it's here, yes, and what is here? Yes, okay, it is also trachea. No, I mean here, no, it is thyroid gland, yes, somewhere there is trachea. Okay, so trachea, here it is. It starts from the level of the 6th cervical vertebra up to the level of the 5th thoracic vertebra, and it is located, like it starts in the cervical region, and it goes to the superior mediastinum. What is mediastinum? You will also have to study. And so the function is transport function. It is movement of the ear. And actually we were talking about the trachea when we were discussing esophagus. Yes, so trachea is located in front of the esophagus, and inferiorly it continues to right and left principal bronchi, and place of the bifurcation of the trachea is known as carinotrachea. Carinotrachea, here it is. Okay. No, so above there is larynx, yes, inferiorly it continues to principal bronchi. And so here, like in the larynx, there is fibrocartilaginous layer in the wall of the trachea. But here, all the cartilages, they are the same. There are semilunar cartilages, so they close the lumen of the trachea from lateral sides and anteriorly, and posteriorly they are absent. There is just membrane. Yes,
For that it's
for the esophagus. Yes, for the bolus, if it is very large, could pass through the esophagus. Yes, not to create a barrier. So okay, these are the same cartilages continue to the right and left principal bronchi. Actually, structure of right and left principal bronchi is the same as structure of trachea. Here you have to know the difference between right and left principal bronchi. This one is left, this one is right. So what can we see here? That actually, what can we see here? Okay, so right principal bronchus, it is divided into 3 lobar bronchi, yes, because right lung consists of 3 lobes, superior, middle, and inferior, and that's why right principal bronchus is divided into 3 lobar bronchi, and left principal bronchus, it is divided only into 2, superior and inferior, yes, there are only, because of the presence of the heart in the left part of the thoracic cavity, and also, oh my god, I think its left one is wider, yes? So you will read. Which one is wider?
This one.
I know that this is right. Then you will tell me that I said something wrong. Well, in my opinion, you should check it in the book, because I can be wrong. So left principal bronchus, it is a continuation of trachea. So it is wider and shorter. And also the angle of its origin, it is not as acute as the angle of origin of right principal bronchus. And so right principal bronchus, it is longer and narrower, and it originates under the acute angle. Why do we need to know it? Because in case of for example, when child or any person, in case of any foreign particle entered the larynx and then it went to the trachea and then to right or left principal bronchi, so this person will suffocate if we do not remove this foreign particle very fast, yes? And so we should remember such peculiarities of structure. of right and left principal bronchi, and so there are much higher chances that this foreign particle goes to the left principal bronchus, not to the right one. Yes, yes. Okay, that was about the bronchi. Then you have to study the lung. This is the lung. So these are also the lungs, yes. So they are parenchymal organs, and they serve not only for the transport. So these are the only organs which do not only serve as a tract, yes, but they also serve for gas exchange, yes. So oxygen comes to the blood in the lungs, and carbon dioxide, it leaves the blood. In my opinion, this one is yes, this is left lung. This is anatomic position, yes. So yes, topography of the lungs you will also study. So right lung, inferior boundary of the right lung is located higher than inferior boundary of the left lung due to the presence of the liver here in the right part of in the right hypochondric region, yes. Okay, so there are 3 surfaces in every lung. Arcus.
Yes.
So right, yes.
Yes, right, yes.
Right is wider.
Yes.
Yes, and left is shorter.
Yes.
Okay, it's opposite. But why is it so in this preparation?
I think it is damaged.
Okay. Yes. So yes, I also thought that it's opposite.
Yes.
Okay. 3 surfaces. This one is costal surface, yes, of the lung, and this one is mediastinal surface, facies mediastinum, and there is also diaphragmatic surface, facies diaphragmatica. This one. This is left lung. Why? Because it has only 2 lobes, superior and inferior, which are separated from each other by means of oblique fissure, fissura obliqua. And also here we can say cardiac notch, incisura cardiaca for the heart. Yes, here we can see the same. So right lung has 3 lobes, superior, middle, and inferior, and superior lobe is separated from middle one by means of oblique fissure, and inferior one is separated from another one, from the middle one.
Lateral. Middle from
Horizontal and oblique.
Yes, this one is a horizontal. Superior from middle it is separated by means of horizontal fissure, and middle one is separated from inferior by means of oblique fissure. And so here is renal cardiac notches, of course. At the mediastinal surface of the lung, there is hilum, yes, and so principal bronchus and also pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein, they enter and leave. No, so the main structures, they enter and leave from the lung and to the lung. About morphofunctional unit of the lung, we will talk later. Yes, what else you have to know? You have to know what is mediastinum. Mediastinum is a space in the thoracic cavity that is not yet. Mediastinum, it is a complex of organs in the thoracic cavity that is located between 2 lungs. Yes, between 2 lungs. So here
It's like
it
a
is.
groove.
It's
Like
like
a groove that's separated between 2 lungs.
It's
like sternum, according to the sternum place.
It's not a groove, it's complex of organs.
مجموعة organ.
Okay.
Like a group of organs.
Yes, group
In
of
the sternum
organs.
place, this one.
Yes, behind the sternum.
Yes.
The anteriorly, sternum, posteriorly,
Yes.
thoracic vertebrae, yes. And so this mediastinum, it is divided into several parts. There are actually 2 classifications, 2 divisions of mediastinum. Anatomical and clinical, yes, division. So anatomically, mediastinum is divided into 2 parts, first of all, superior and inferior. Superior and boundary between them is located at the level of the 5th thoracic vertebra, yes? 5th thoracic vertebra posteriorly and angle of sternum anteriorly.
Say ventricle like, no, ventricle, yes,
Yes,
it's right.
between 5th thoracic vertebra and angle of sternum anteriorly.
Yes.
Yes. So above it there is superior mediastinum, and below there is inferior mediastinum. And inferior mediastinum again is divided into three parts. Yes, in anterior, middle, and posterior. The boundary between them, it is heart. Everything that is in front of the heart, it is anterior mediastinum. Actually, there are not so many structures here. For example, thymus is here, yes, and some vessels. Then heart itself belongs to the middle mediastinum, and everything that is behind the heart, it is posterior mediastinum. It is esophagus, and again some vessels like thoracic aorta, yes, some yes, lymphatic ducts, and so on. Clinically, just mediastinum is divided into two parts, anterior and posterior, and this division passes through the roots of the lungs. Roots of the lungs. So everything that is in front, it is anterior mediastinum, and everything that is behind, it is posterior mediastinum. And so you have to know what exactly is located in every mediastinum. And now we understand that esophagus indeed passed in the posterior mediastinum, yes, because it is behind. The other thing that you have also to study for the next lesson, it is pleura. So pleura, it is a serous membrane that covers internal wall of the thoracic cavity and lungs, and also lungs. So that part of pleura that covers internal wall of the thoracic cavity, it is parietal pleura, and that part of pleura that covers lungs, it is visceral pleura, and between them, between visceral and parietal pleura, there is pleural cavity, and again there is serous fluid there, yes, and so in pleura there are several parts. There is mediastinal pleura that is directed to the mediastinum. There is costal pleura that covers lateral surface, the costal surfaces of the lungs, and there is diaphragmatic pleura that covers diaphragmatic, yes, is directed to the diaphragm and covers diaphragmatic surfaces of the lungs. And so this pleura, oh my God. So that's it. This is pleura. You see? This is pleura. And so this is like a costal pleura, and after that it goes to after that it should go to the diaphragm. So here it goes to the diaphragm. What, like this here? No, okay. And so this pleura, it forms, like, why do we need it? Again, we need pleural cavity to decrease friction, yes, because lungs, they expand when during inhalation, yes, and decrease in the size, yes, during exhalation. And so this pleural cavity forms three recesses. So between costal pleura and diaphragmatic pleura here, there is costodiaphragmatic recess. And between costal pleura and mediastinal pleura, there is costomediastinal recess. And between mediastinal pleura and diaphragmatic pleura, there is mediastinal diaphragmatic recess. So they serve like additional cavities for the lungs to enter during forced inhalation. Yes, when we make a very big inhalation, lungs expand much, and so they need additional space. That is about the pleura. Also, you will study thyroid gland and thymus, and also parathyroid glands yourself. What? Everything is written in
yourself.
So now let's take your seats. Now we are going, yes, for the next lesson, we will also draw morphofunctional unit of the lung. Morphofunctional unit of the lung is essence. We said that into the lung, principal bronchi enter, yes, and then they are divided into lobar bronchi and then segmental bronchi and so on. So totally they divide 22 or 23 times. 22 or 23 times. But we are interested only in the divisions from the 15th to 23, like from in the very last divisions, because gas exchange actually takes place only in this lowest division. So acinus, you have to know the definition of acinus. Acinus, it is a branching of terminal bronchiole. So after the terminal, in the terminal bronchiole, gas exchange does not occur. Gas exchange occurs only after the terminal bronchiole, because after the terminal bronchiole, primary respiratory bronchioles are located. Okay, so these are primary respiratory bronchioles. Primary respiratory bronchioles. And then this one is secondary respiratory bronchiole. And this one is tertiary respiratory bronchiole. And then there will be alveolar ducts. No, actually, I'm not quite correct. There must be also. Okay, let me like this, and then it will be like this. This will be alveolar ducts. Alveolar ducts. And this will, it will be alveolar sac. Alveolar sac. Alveolar sac. And here also it will be alveolar duct, and then alveolar sac. This is duct. This is sac. So why is gas exchange possible only after the terminal bronchiole? Because only here there are these structures which are known as alveoli. Alveoli is plural, singular is alveolus. Yes, this is alveolus. Why is gas exchange possible only in the alveoli? Because everywhere without an alveoli, wall of the this bronchiole, it's very thick, and gas exchange is impossible. And here walls are very thin, and here there is aerohemetic barrier. Also, we have to know that here everywhere there are blood capillaries. Yes, they surround all of these structures, blood capillaries, and that's why in place where the wall of the blood capillary attaches the wall of the alveolus, here gas exchange is possible. So here aerohemetic barrier is present. Aerohemetic barrier is present. So aerohemetic barrier includes the following structures. How is it done? How is it formed? Yes. So from the side of alveolus, here there are alveolar sides. Alveolar sides. These are alveolar sides. And from the wall, from the side of the blood capillary, there are endothelial sides. So these are alveolar sides. Alveolar sides. And from the wall of the blood capillary, there are endothelial sides. Endothelial sides. And between them, there is basement membrane. This is basement membrane. Basement membrane. How many basement membranes is there? I forgot. Is it common basement membrane?
It's only one, isn't it?
Only one?
I'm not sure.
Yes, it is common basement membrane. So here there is common basement membrane. So on the same basement membrane, endothelial cells of capillaries. So here there is blood, yes, and here there is air. And so common basement membrane, from the one side there are alveolar sites, and from the other side there are endothelial sites of blood capillaries. And through this very thin wall, oxygen from the air can enter the blood and join hemoglobin, yes, and CO2 from the blood can leave it and go to the exhaled air. That is aerohemetic barrier, or it is also known as air-blood barrier. Air-blood barrier. You will also read that there are two types of alveolocytes. Yes, there are granular and agranular alveolocytes. So these are here agranular. They just very flattened cells, very flat, and they through them gases pass. And there are also granular alveolocytes which produce surfactant. Surfactant is a special substance that prevents collapse of bronchioles during exhalation. Now that's a very small information which you will study during this week. And the